Okay, everybody, let's do this program. Write a program to print out the following using a nested while loop. Print out 10 lines, but skip line 5. Okay, so you can see line 5 has no stars. And here is the analysis. Notice that we want to print out 10 lines. That can be done in a loop. But for each line, the number of stars is different. But the number of stars for each line corresponds to the number of lines. So if you look at this, line 1 has 1 star, line 2, 2 stars, line 3, 3, 4 stars, line 4, 4 stars. That's what this means. Okay, so we can actually use that line number as the sentinel value for each line, of course. Okay, so let's do this. We can simply use number of rows and columns, right? So this is row 1, row 2, row 3, and this has column 1, this has 2 columns, this has 3 columns. That might be a little bit easier. The variable names are more meaningful, so I will just declare those row. Let's start at row 1 and the column, and we start at column 1. Okay. So while row is less than, how many do we want? We want 10. From 1 to 10, that's 10 rows. Okay, so we have the equal sign here, less than or equal to. Okay, so while we are here, while we are at row 1 the first time, we need to make sure our column numbers are correct. So we use a nested loop while our column, okay, so once again, we already explained the column number, the number of columns corresponds to the number of row. So for row 1, we have 1 column. For row 2, we have 2 columns. For row 3, we have 3 columns. So we can use this mechanism, right? Not 1, but row. Okay, so column is less than or equal to the number of rows. Okay, so 1 is less than or equal to 1. And then this becomes 2, and then it becomes 3. So this way we can actually draw the stars. This loop is really for the number of rows. This loop is for the number of stars. Okay, so make sure you put your curly braces correctly. And let's do... And we don't want the line, we want to simply have print because we want the stars to be next to each other, not to the next line. So let's give it a star and let's give it a space so that it looks better. Okay, I will do this and then you tell me what's wrong. Okay. And you can see just now it printed, but then it just cannot do anything anymore because there are too many. Why? Because these two have become infinite loops because we never updated column or row. So we need to update column, okay? Column plus plus. And so this will increment column, this loop. And outside that, we need to increment row, right? Okay, so let's run. And then you can see it print them out in one line, 10 stars. That's not correct. That's because after each line, we need to put an empty line there after each row, right? So this will add a column, add an empty line. That's right. And now you have 10 rows, but each row has only 1 star. So there is a problem here. It doesn't work. In this situation, you will have to debug. You will have to look at your logic. So how do you debug? The best way, the easiest way, is really just to print out the numbers of the loop control variable. So I'm going to print out and see what is the column here. What column number is it? because it doesn't continue, right? So we want to see the column. Okay, let's see. Okay, so in the first row column is 1, in the second row column is 2, third and 3, and in the 10th row column is 10. Okay, so let's print out the row also, okay, just to debug. Okay, so here, let's say row number plus row, and this is column. Okay, let's run. Okay, so here we have column number is 1, row is 1, column number is 2, row is 2, column is 3, row is 3, etc. So the column number and the row numbers are the same. Well, you think about it. The first time column is 1, row is 1, and this condition is true. So you print out the star, right? And then you increment column. Column now becomes 2. 2 is less than or equal to 1. That's not true, so it exits the loop. It prints out a new line character, and row is incremented. Row now becomes 2. So 2 is less than 10. This is true, and it comes here. Remember, your column just now was 2. So 2 is less than or equal to 2. That's true. It prints out a star. And then it increment column now becomes 3, and row becomes 3. You come back here, row is 3, it's less than 10. That's true. You come into this inner loop, and you are saying 3 is less than or equal to 3. That's where it's wrong. So your column keeps going up, and you never reinitialize it to 1, because for each column, for each row, we need to start at 1, and then go up to the number of the row number, right? So the problem is really we need to reinitialize. Okay, I'm going to delete that debug. We need to reinitialize our column number, obviously. So reinitialize it to 1. Okay, let's run. Okay, now it's correct. Okay, so to debug your program, use the print line, system.out.println statement to print out the loop control variables and see what it is, and then figure out why does it stay that value? Why is it that value, right? That way you can debug your program, especially for loops. Okay, so we are done with that part. Pretty easy. And now we want to print out 10 lines, but skip line 5. So how do we skip line 5? That means when a row is 5, we don't want to print out anything, right? You see this, when it's 5, we don't want to print out anything. So we can add a condition here. If row is equal to 5, remember the double equal sign, what do we do? If row is 5, we don't do any of that. You can do this, of course. Okay, you can do this. If row is not 5, we will print it out. Okay, let's do this first. It's okay. Okay, let's see if this works. Oh, it doesn't work. Why does it not work? Because column plus plus is inside the if statement. So column plus plus is really something you have to do. No matter what, you will have to increment it, right? So right now it becomes an infinite loop. If you look at it, it is an infinite loop because our incrementation of column is under that condition. So when row is 5, you never increment column. Column forever remains whatever it is. And so this condition is always true. It just keeps doing the same thing. So we will do it like this. That means column plus plus will be incremented no matter what. Okay, see. Now this time it's correct, right? So column plus plus, it's outside. This is one way to do it. I'm going to comment that out, Control-Shift-C to comment it out. Another way, a more elegant way to do it is if row is 5, we get out of the loop. Break. Okay, we don't. Okay, let me see. So let's see if this works. Yes, I'm just thinking, how did this get incremented? That's something I'm thinking. But if row is 5, you break, you get out of the loop. Oh, I know. Okay. If row is 5, you get out of the loop. Just now, when we put the curly braces there, we are not getting out of the loop, right? We are going back to check the condition, and the column did not change. That's why you got stuck in that endless loop. But here, when we say break, we get out of this loop. And guess what? Column changed. It's reinitialized to 1. Okay, so that's why it works. So these are the 2 different ways to do that. Okay, that's it, everybody.